Hello everyone, welcome back to this YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you top 10 things to do when you go to Banff National Park. So Banff National Park is 45 minutes to an hour from Calgary, depending on where you're driving from. So your first port of entry, you'll be required to pay a fee to go into the park. It's $21 when there is more than one person in the vehicle. So you're going with your family or your friends. Your vehicle will be required to pay $21. They'll print out a slip for you and you will attach that to your windshield. Always make sure that is displayed to avoid any tickets or penalties. They're doing some major works on the roads right now, so there's a lot of construction going on and it's causing a bit of traffic before you get to the national park. Banff National Park is part of the Canada Rockies. It's beautiful just before you get to the park. It's a beautiful scenic drive and it goes all the way down to Jasper Park, Lake Louise, Moraine Lake, Canmore, Kananaskis. There's so many surrounding areas there that are also fun to visit. So number one thing that I recommend you do when you go to Banff is to visit the Two Jack Lake. If your plan is to barbecue, hang out with friends, camp, you have your RV or your personal vehicle, or you just have your tent and you're looking to camp and hang out with family and friends, I definitely recommend that you stop at the Two Jack Lake where you can camp, where you can barbecue, and where you can swim. It's beautiful water, it's clean, it's clear. That's one thing I love about the Two Jack Lake. So that's the first thing to do when you come to the Banff National Park. The second thing I always recommend that you do when you come to the park is visit the Cascade of Times Garden. So once you come into Banff, depending on the time that you're visiting, if this is the summer and it's a Saturday, of course there's going to be a lot of traffic, a lot of people who also want to enjoy Banff National Park. So I always recommend that you go to the Cascade of Times Garden. When you get there, paying for parking is not required. I've never paid for parking at the garden. I just park my vehicle, take a few pictures and move. So right now showing the entry fees into the national park. So you'll be required to pay $21 if it's a family or a group, and it's also lesser if it's a senior who is going into the national park. So once you leave this place, you see the Takakwa Falls. It's far away, but you can definitely see it. And then the Two Jack Lake will just be by your right. So once we visit Two Jack Lake, we move to the Cascade of Times Garden. And you have wooden structures, flowers in their season, just absolutely beautiful. Take some pictures and then we leave. Before we leave though, in front of the building, there's a building beside the Cascade of Times Garden, and in front of that building, you can just view downtown Banff. So I always recommend that people go there and just see a beautiful big mountain behind you and the road, the straight road, the main street of downtown Banff. So take some pictures there. It's beautiful, it's stunning. And if you go to your right, if you leave the Cascade of Times Garden that we're showing right now, you'll be heading towards the Upper Hot Springs. So the Upper Hot Springs is best if you use it in the cold months. So from October, December, January, February. I do not recommend it in the summer because the water is 37 degrees hot. It's a natural spring that's just naturally hot. So I do not recommend that you use the Upper Hot Springs in the warmer months. It doesn't really make sense. So definitely go in the colder months, maybe in nights we can get away with your spouse, your partner, and enjoy the Upper Hot Springs. You can also enjoy the Banff Gondola. So that's the third thing I recommend that you do when you go to Banff National Park. Go to the Banff Gondola. You can visit the Sulphur Mountain. and cave basin. So cave and basin. So that's the fifth thing I recommend that you do when you go to Banff National Park. The next is to visit the Bow Falls Viewpoint. Now, if you come out of the Cascade of Times Garden and you're not wanting to go to the Upper Hot Springs, when you turn left, it will lead you to the Bowes Fall Viewpoint. You can also hike from the Cascade of Times Garden to the Bow Falls Viewpoint. When you get there, you're able to take a raft tour. Apart from taking pictures with the falls, you can go ahead to the raft tours where they have the guides there. They will take you on a tour and show you some major landmarks around Banff. It's $73 per person, and I think it's $35 if the person is 2 years or 15 years old. So adults pay $73 per person, and you have a guide that takes you on the tour when you get into the raft. So these orange rafts that are showing right here, it says Raft Tours. So you just meet the person there and they'll give you a pamphlet explaining the cost and the times that they depart from dock. So that's one thing you can do in Banff. That's one activity you can definitely enjoy apart from the Upper Hot Springs or the gondola. Of almost all the activities that you can do there, visiting the cave basin and using the Upper Hot Springs is one of the cheapest activities you can do in Banff National Park. So the next thing I recommend that you do is go to Lake Louise. Lake Louise is 45 minutes from Banff, downtown Banff. So I recommend you go to Lake Louise. It's stunning, breathtaking, magnificent lake. So we always visit every year, sometimes in the fall, sometimes in the summer, sometimes in the winter. It's very beautiful in the winter because the lake freezes and you can just walk on the lake. You can go skating. It's beautiful, but it's definitely colder. Even in the summer, if it's warm in Calgary, it'll always be colder in Banff. That's just what it is. It's the mountain areas. So definitely go visit Banff. Lake Louise. Another thing I recommend, which would be my 7 points, I believe, is to hike. There are levels beside the Lake Louise. You can hike on the lower level or you can hike up the mountain. When you hike up the mountain, there is a rewarding view of the lake waiting for you up there. I mean, when you look down at the lake, it's unreal what you see. It's like a picture. It's so perfect. It's unreal. I definitely recommend that you take that hike, but prepare to hike before you take that hike. Don't just go on the hike. Get good shoes, get good gears before you go on that hike, because the last time I tried doing that on my regular sneakers, oh my goodness, I healed for like 2 weeks straight. I was trying to still recover. But Lake Louise is definitely something to do. The 8th thing I recommend that you do is kayak. If you have the funds, I believe it's $200 per person or per kayak. Definitely go kayaking on the lake. It's beautiful. It's stunning. So definitely go kayaking. Well, I hope I've been able to share some tips and things that you should do when you go to Banff and areas. You can go barbecuing, you can go swimming, you can kayak. If you have your personal kayak, I believe there are lakes where you're allowed to kayak. I do not know if Lake Louise allows that, but there are other lakes around that you're allowed to just take your own personal kayak and do your kayaking. So definitely visit, enjoy the views, take in the fresh air in the summer, have fun, hike if you want to hike, swim if you want to swim, hang out if you want to hang out, do tours around the lake, know the sites and the histories of the buildings around, and enjoy the Rockies. I Hope you've subscribed to this channel. Make sure you do so. Do not leave without subscribing. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the share button, and we'll keep sharing more of these experiences with you. Well, thank you for watching. Have a good day and stay blessed.